Coming to paperback and e-readers this April, Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door must take on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess in paperback and e-readers this April.
Hi everyone, it's Shawn here with another comic review video. And last year, Billy Tucci entered the world of crowdfunded comics and brought back his bad girl heroine from the 1990s, She, with Return of the Warrior. And that comic ended on a cliffhanger, which was so compelling, I had to come back for She Haikyo, which was launched last year, but is now starting to drop and be delivered to all of the pledges this year. And I'm glad that I was able to put in a pledge for this book because it's just absolutely fantastic. Now, your Billy Tucci picks up where the She character left off in Return of the Warrior, and he pays off all of the storylines that he set up in that Return of the Warrior. And one of the things I really liked about Return of the Warrior was that it was classic comic book storytelling, and I like the fact that this whole storyline pays off in 2 books, because a lot of guys out here, when they go out here and try to do comics, they really don't know how to work within the 3-act paradigm of comics, and that leads to a lot of disjointed and uneven storytelling. But this story flows very smoothly, and the characters are all well developed, and everything comes to a very satisfying conclusion. But in addition to ending and satisfying the conclusion of this story, we get some build up into possible future stories at the end of the comic. Now, I don't want to spoil anything because these books are absolutely fantastic, and I want you to go out here and get your own copy of Return of the Warrior and Haikyo, because Billy Tucci has done a great job on bringing back one of the premier bad girls of the 1990s with this story. Now, if you've read Return of the Warrior, you would know that the Anna Ishikawa character, we're looking at her 15 years later, and she's raising her young daughter. And as a series of murders have been going on, she has to come back as the She character in order to try to solve who is doing these killings and find out why they're doing these murders. So there's a nice little mystery as related to this story that's set up in Return of the Warrior, but comes to a great conclusion in Haikyo. Now, in Haikyo, we get things opening up with Anna desperate to get back to her daughter, who is facing off against the killer who's been out here killing all of these different people and going out here wreaking havoc. Now, they have a very short but intense fight, and we also get some nice contrast sequences that really remind me of what you'd see as related to storyboards in a TV show. So we get some nice flashbacks and we get some nice contrast, and I love seeing the artwork here because the artwork is really strong, the artwork really pops, and we get all of this great action going on, and it just again feels like a movie or a TV series. And we get to see Anna's daughter in action, and she's a chip off the old block. So we see this going on, and the grandfather, he's wounded and still trying to fight. So a lot is going on here in these opening pages that build on the mystery, and we see that Anna's going to try to protect her daughter, and that's a major point in the story. So this is going on as the mystery goes on, and I don't really want to spoil too much of this book because it's just so well done, and Billy has just done an amazing job on this book, whether it be with the beautiful cover here that's just amazing to look at all this great detail, or the back piece that really shows the mother and daughter in action. So the artwork on this She Haikyo is just absolutely beautiful, and the best way to experience this book is to have it in your hand. Now, I had the digital copy before I even got the paper copy, but I wanted to wait to do the review of this book when I got the paper copy, because these she books are so beautiful. You have to experience them in your hand, and that's the way a great comic is. You want to experience it by holding it in your hand, looking at the art, because you're going to see details that you won't see detailed on screen of a digital comic. I mean, digital is nice, and I've bought quite a few digital comics, but there are some comics that are just so spectacular that I have to come back and pick up a paper copy. And some comics are so good as being paper, I just have to go and get them in paper before I even think about getting digital. And when it comes down to these she comics, they are the ones that I would go out here and get paper first, because the only way you can experience how grand the art is to have them and hold them in your hands. And these Bad Girl comics tell a very well crafted story. While you're getting, again, strong, sexy heroines, you're getting a lot of action and adventure, and you're also getting a lot of really solid plotting and character development. That's one of the things I liked about a lot of the good Bad Girl comics from the 90s, like Everett Hartso's Razor or Billy Tucci's She, is that they not only gave you a heroine in a sexy outfit, they also gave you well-crafted storytelling, and they gave you a really solid reading experience. And what I liked about this book was it showed how, even though the Anna Ishikawa character is older, she has grown and changed over the years, but is still a strong heroine and has grown and even passed these values on to her daughter. That was one of the other things I really liked about this comic, was seeing how the mother's values were passed on. And I have to wonder if that will be another storyline. Will we be seeing Anna's daughter wearing the she costume in the future as a she Beyond, possibly similar to Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond? Or are we going to be seeing her coming along, maybe possibly being like a sort of like a Batman and Robin type thing? Or will she continue her training? I mean, there's so many great stories to continually be told with the Anna Ishikawa character, and the Return of the Warrior and Haikyo show us that the Anna Ishikawa character, after 20 plus years, is still fresh and fun to read, and still shows us that great characters always are always great, because they wind up just presenting compelling stories. And it's not about the time, it's about the message of the story, and it's about the character resonating with you. And this story really resonated with me because I liked the themes as related to family. I liked the themes about protecting family, and I really liked all of the art here because it's just very beautiful visuals. And I could easily see this being a movie or a TV series based on what was presented in both of these issues. And I really liked the fact that we saw classic comic storytelling here, because both of these issues basically comprise what I see to be your standard 4-issue comic arc or a 2-issue comic arc. So you got an entire story in 2 issues, and it looks like you're getting some teasing at the end of the book. And I'm not going to reveal that because I don't want to spoil Billy's work, because he's just done a great job on this book, and I don't want to see all that work spoiled by me just going out here and flipping over to go to the last page. I want you to go out here and experience all of the twists and turns in this story. I want you to go out here and experience this book, because this is well-crafted comic storytelling. This is spectacular comic experience, and this is what I used to experience back in the days of the late 80s and the 90s, when I would, back in the 80s, go to the newsstand to pick up comics, or when I would go out here in the 90s and 2000s going to comic book stores like Jim Hanley's Universe to go pick up comics on the regular. And this is the kind of fun people would go out here and have when they would go out here and buy comics, and I want you to experience that with Billy Tucci's Chi. And I definitely recommend you pick up Return of the Warrior and Haikyo, and I recommend you definitely get both of these books because you're going to be in for a treat with these comics. Now, I'm still working on the John Haynes at Death's Door comic right now, and I've got the script where I want it to be, and I've also seen Mike Williams' work on the John Haynes at Death's Door comic. So the variant cover that Mike is doing is absolutely beautiful, and I'm hoping to share it with you guys soon, and I'm hoping eventually when this artist becomes available, I'll be able to start getting work done on the John Haynes at Death's Door comic. So I've got my own comic I'm getting ready to put together and get out here, and I've also got another comic, East Dean No Good Deed, available on Amazon for 99 cents on Kindle. So I'm working on my own comic, but I always love to support independent comics, and I want you guys to go out here and pick up some of these great independent comics because there's a lot of great indie artists out here who have a lot of great material, and I hope you go out here and pick that material up so they can continue producing more great comics like Return of the Warrior and Haikyo. And I'm also hoping that you guys will pick up some of my books, like again, East Dean No Good Deed, which is just 99 cents. And I hope you also pick up some of the other SJS Direct fantasy titles, like the ISIS series, the East Dean series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. I also hope you, if you have digital, will pick it up on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available on Kindle, East-Team No Good Deed. The Devil's Diva scares some stick-up kids straight in this action-packed East-Team series comic. Get East-Team No Good Deed on Kindle for 99 cents today.